was after the wedding.
It was before too.
Before too, like he just left me and he was hanging out with all the guys. And I'm like, you do realize we're here to get married. And like, you're never there with me. Like even on the plane, like he was sitting next to me and like 15 minutes later, he went and sat with his friends.
We were like drinking, taking shots. Cause I'm like, I'm excited.
Because they're thinking they're on vacation, but they're really not. Like this is for our wedding. Menaka.
Hey, it's Myron.
And we are the M&Ms. Hey, we said it at the same time.
Yeah, we did. We started dating about 6 years ago.
We initially started off as friends.
And then we ended up being lovers.
And then business partners. We run a real estate team here called the MS Real Estate Team. Our goal is to change the impression of the real estate industry and serve clients with their own personal touch. So when we decided we wanted to have a Hindu destination wedding, we were looking at some options as to where we can actually do this. Our first option was actually Sri Lanka, our motherland. We haven't been there in like 15 years now, and we thought this would be the perfect opportunity for us to go back with our family and friends and have a beautiful, intimate destination wedding.
Yeah.
But we had to consider some
challenges.
Right?
And one was time to travel, the distance. And of course, number two was time difference. And number three was our guest and their accommodation, right? I think that would have been the biggest challenge.
Yeah.
And we would have to travel at least a month or two before and kind of plan everything, right? So with our busy schedule, that was not in the books.
And we also had to consider our 80-year-old grandma who cannot travel for that long. And we realized that it's not just about us, it's also about our guests and families. And we have to make sure they're okay to travel for that long. We wanted to meet with
a travel agent
who could help us.
Explore some options.
Yeah, explore some options to help us out.
I think probably like when we were planning, we really didn't know who we should speak to about. So then I had, my boss who I was speaking to, and I said, I'm thinking about having a destination wedding. And then he said, you should talk to Krishna from VMS Travels. And I'm like, all right, let's do it, right? So we had the conversation literally in my boss's office. And we were like, okay, Krishna, so I'm thinking about this crazy idea, and what do you have to say? And then it's funny, Krishna's like, destination wedding? Sure, we could do it. And I love that confidence about him.
You had 3 or 4 different choices, and then I gave you a choice of Moon Palace because they had a past experience of doing Punjabi and Gujarati wedding. So I know the process will be easier to explain to them. I would like to be involved in this wedding and then come and help you guys plan it, not just to sell the tickets and sell the packages and send you guys off. I know there's a wedding coordinator there, but it doesn't look nice. If I'm there, I know what you guys are thinking so that I can play it out and explain to the wedding coordinators. And we had small incidents happening. We had coordinators quit
on us.
and we had to retract and explain everything back again. So I thought to myself that I have to be in it so that you guys are at ease.
So people assume that destination weddings are planned for you and you just show up and get married.
But that's what I thought.
Unfortunately, there's a lot of planning that goes behind it. We actually started planning a year in advance and we were still planning the night before the wedding. So when it comes to a destination wedding, you have to consider all the planning that's going to go behind it. First, we met with our travel agent to consider some travel location options. And then we talked to our Iyer for our Muhurtam date and time. And when we got the time and date, we were able to talk to our vendors if they were available. And fortunately, since our wedding was during their off-season time, they had more flexibility to travel with us to Cancun and shoot our wedding.
Absolutely.
And then lastly, we talked to our wedding coordinator in Mexico, and that's when the real planning started. We were going back and forth with emails with our wedding coordinator, and we were talking about flowers for the wedding, the decor for the wedding, the food options, the location, time.
About like 3-4 months after all of this, and like Krishna actually flew us there to make sure that you know, we see the location and then we know exactly what we're getting, because it's a challenge when you're here. You know, you're planning things, you know exactly what your decorations are, what type of food you're eating, and of course, you know, what you're gonna have at the mandapam. Right? For us, that wasn't the case, because when we were in Mexico, we were like, okay, we're clueless. What do we do, right? Because, and also we wanted to know what they're gonna offer for the wedding, right? Like for example, since it's a traditional wedding, they're not offering us mavila, vettala, sandanam, kungumam,
Sandanam, vibhuti. So we have to consider those things as well, so that we know what to bring from here and what the resort actually offers.
Yeah, so we made a list of things as to, okay, this is what we're bringing and this is what the resort's gonna offer us. And then we said, okay, let's roll with it. So Krishna, he went on Sunday before all of us, and we said, Krishna, take all of the mandapam stuff and everything with you. And then when he said, okay, you know what, it cleared customs, we have no worries, then we had a peace of mind at that point in time.
So guys, plan, plan, plan. So after all that talking, we thought we'll get some tea. Cheers!
I don't think people cheers tea.
Well, expect the unexpected.
I mean, remember that night before the wedding, your flowers went bad?
Oh yeah, that night I was freaking out because we brought jasmine flowers from Toronto, and the night before the wedding I opened it up and it went bad. So I called my wedding coordinator and I told her about the problem, and she found a florist on site who had some roses that she was able to give it to me. And those roses was like beautiful for the wedding. I think it worked out amazing.
And remember the ammi? Oh my God, that was another big issue that we had to deal with. So of course we can't fly with the ammi because it's like too heavy, right? So what we decided that we will just show up to the beach and then get a rock, because that's what our priest suggested, right? So when we show up, there's no rocks in the beach. The beach was full of sand. The day before the wedding, we were like, oh, we don't have an ammi. So what do? So then we decided, we talked to the people there, taxi drivers, everybody. They're like, no, like there's no rocks. We can't get you a rock. So we went to the gift shop. We were looking around.
You found something that looked kind of like a bowl.
Yeah.
And he flipped it to the other side and it had like a rock finish to it.
Yeah.
And it worked beautifully for the wedding.
Ayer said, okay, this is perfect. And then we put manjal on it and flowers, and it looked gorgeous.
So guys, expect the unexpected. So people think that destination weddings are cheap. The reality is it's not always true. In our situation, we went for a Hindu destination wedding because we wanted that intimacy. And
plus, it's a 7-day vacation. I mean, who doesn't want an all-inclusive 7-day vacation?
And also, you have to keep in mind when it comes to planning a destination wedding is to consider hidden costs. In our situation, we talked to our resort to find out what they offer and what we have to pay out of our pockets. For instance, the vendor's fee that we had to pay for.
I know, like last minute they're like, oh, you have to pay an additional vendor fee to have your own photographer and videographer fly in and shoot your wedding. And we were like, oh really? We were kind of shocked about that.
Because they do have their own photographers and videographers on site, and in order for you to bring somebody with you, you have to pay the resort a vendor's fee. And that's something that you would have not initially budgeted for. We had to pay for a golf cart to take our guests from their rooms to the venue because it's quite far. It's about a 20-minute walk. And we didn't know that we had to pay for that. So knowing that there could be hidden costs, you have to be prepared for all of that and have a buffer in your budget.
Yeah. So now that we're back from an amazing destination Hindu wedding,
we had a blast, we had a great time. It's a week in our lives that we'll never forget.
And we will totally recommend it to other couple.
And we'll get married again to do it all over again.
Of course, to the same person.
Of course.
What would you say is the biggest annoyance while you were there?
Biggest what?
Yeah, the annoying.
It was so annoying. Like,
Yeah.
Was it family? Was it...
Yeah, I think it's just having everyone together, and like the resort itself was so big
Yes.
that it was so hard to get everybody together. and we had to communicate through WhatsApp. Hey, we're here, come here, share our location.
So you had like a WhatsApp group.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
a WhatsApp group to coordinate, get everyone together, and like that was the most annoying part.
Yeah,
of-
yeah.
Go missing?
People didn't go missing. It's just the people.
Oh, it did.
They did?
Did, yeah.
Oh, your uncle
My
did.
uncle. So
yeah.
my uncle, he so we arrived on Monday, and my uncle arrived on Tuesday. And Wednesday morning, I get a text saying that, oh, you know, like Mama's missing, and I'm just like, what the heck? I wake up and I'm like, Mama's missing. Biggest fight.
Like while you were there, what was the biggest fight about? Obviously, like when you're on a trip, things go sour and stuff like that. Were you guys yelling at each other?
Oh yeah, like ripping each other's heads. To me, I was like, oh, this is a vacation for me. Right? Go to the bar, get drinks, and then she's like, Myron, stick together. We have to get this thing going, right?
It was after the wedding.
It was before too.
Before too, like he just left me and he was hanging out with all the guys, and I'm like, you do realize we're here to get married, and like you're never there with me. Like even on the plane, like he was sitting next to me, and like 15 minutes later he went and sat with his friends.
We were like drinking, taking shots, cause I'm like, yeah, I'm excited to
They're
go.
thinking they're on vacation, but they're really not. Like this is for our wedding. That was like our main argument.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That seems like an ongoing thing.
Ongoing thing throughout the whole time. Like even after the wedding,
Yeah.
I was like, are you gonna come and hang out with me?
I think after the second day, I kind of settled in, and I'm like, okay, you know what? We got to get things going, right? So we were planning things out, and of course, the biggest challenge was for us, you know, everybody thinking that they're on vacation, right? Like nobody's like, oh, this is a wedding, right? But for us, we're like, we have to plan this. The timing has to be right. Like we were on the back end, making sure things are going in order. So it was just me and her. So we were kind of frustrated. We're like, what the heck? You know, like, come on, guys, we need help. So I just said, hey, you know, my groomsmen, I need this to be done. So I gave them some tasks. She did the exact same thing to her bridesmaid.
We had to delegate to get them to do work because they thought they were on
Absolutely.
vacation and they're just like partying the whole time.
Yeah.
So we had to delegate, like, hey, can you get this done, you know? So.
But then in the end of the
It was-
day,
it was
it
perfect.
worked out
Yeah.
well, and it's totally amazing. It's an amazing experience, honestly. Yeah.
But he ditched me the whole week.
No.